Welcome in, everybody, to Leading Off right here on Fantasy Pros. It is me, Joey P. Joe Pisapia. That is Dinger Dan Harris, and it's you. And we're talking all things baseball. We got a 3-0 count, and we're swinging for the fences this morning because that's what we do. We don't care about any rules, written or unwritten. We're here to break the rules. That's what we do here. We're the bad boys of fantasy baseball, which you think would make us more popular. And you're right, it does. That's right. Dan Harris, how are you this morning, my friend?
I'm fine. A little technical difficulties right before the show, but I think we're fixed right now. Also, are you doing this from inside like a tin can with a can opener being opened or something? What's going on with the background noise over there?
That is called the Lawn Guys. Once again, at
Ah,
9 a.m. They
hmm.
know when the show is. They want to listen live. So they come right to the door right at 9 a.m. as soon as the show starts, like clockwork. I hear them setting up. I hear them out there ready to go. And then boom, there you go. Up, that show's starting. There you go. Let's go. 5 minutes. Let's do it. And now they're gone. They're gone just in the opening of the show. So there's no way I could possibly
Just
stop it.
go to youtube.com/fantasypros MLB and listen to it. Watch us live. Come talk. Whatever. All right,
You're
let's
right,
go.
Dan. That's all
That's
that has
right,
to happen.
exactly.
All right, let's do it. 3 up and 3 down. Another day, another no-hitter, Dan Harris. Here we go. Spencer Turnbull throws the fifth no-hitter of the season, especially if you count that 7-inning one, which I do. A game is a game. So there you have it again against the Mariners. So maybe it's less impressive, but still an impressive feat. And we're getting to a wacky place here with no-hitters. We are
Yep.
now on the 19th of May, and we've already had 5. That's a scary proposition here. We could have a earth-shattering, groundbreaking record amount this year. Speaking of earth-shattering, Luis Castillo had a bunch of strikeouts. Hot dog! Look at him go. I mean, honestly, it's still you lost to the Giants, but whatever. It's Luis Castillo signs of life. That's a good thing. And Hyunjin Ryu, who we talked about yesterday in that 4-outcome game, maybe being the right guy. He was terrific with that wind blowing in. It's blowing in again today for
Yep.
Stripling. We'll see if he could take advantage of it. But a nice outing from Ryu. But I think we got to talk about Castillo, right? Because you started to see the internet blow up. Oh, here we go. It's finally turning around. Is this the turnaround, Dan?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I thought it was coming at some point. Again, he did give up 3 runs in 5 innings, and it should have been more, actually. Wilmer Flores should have scored, I think it was in the 2nd inning, and wound up hurting his hamstring or whatever, and then had to leave the game, and he couldn't make it around the bases. Otherwise, he would have given up a bunch of runs, which doesn't make you that excited. What does make you excited is the 11 strikeouts, the 21 swinging strikes, the way the changeup was working, the way the slider was working. So that's all really encouraging. He talked about it afterwards that he felt really good about it. And look, there are times, Joe, and I don't know how you feel about this, but like if you project a player to hit 300, right, and you generally expect him to hit 300, and he hits 200 for a month, there are 2 schools of thought. Some people think like, okay, that's not real. And eventually he's just going to go back to hitting 300 a month. And there are other people who kind of think, well, there's a streak coming in the opposite direction to get him overall to 300 a month. And I'll bat 400 for like a month to even it out. I don't necessarily think that we are going to see the Luis Castillo go for a month of like a 1 ERA here to balance out all the crap that we've seen yet going before that. But I do think that he is going to pitch more like the pitcher that we expected him to be coming into the year for the rest of the season. So that's where I'm at right now. I basically still have him valued as the 18th starting pitcher. And maybe that's too high right now, but still, I'm pretty confident in him.
Well, we tried to yell from the rooftops last 2 weeks, and then especially after that Colorado start, we said, this is it. This is your last chance. Is the window closed now?
I don't know. I have a question for you, Joe.
You
I
can't
was
ask a
in.
question back right after
I
a
can ask.
question.
I can do
That's
whatever I
bad
want.
fun. It's true. You are the
I'm in a
EIC.
league where I was discussing Trent Grisham straight up for Luis Castillo before the start. What would you have done if you rostered Luis Castillo?
I want the Castillo side.
Yeah,
I mean,
so do I.
that's what I
Exactly.
want. Right.
But there were a lot of people. You look at the chat. Some people are basically like, giving him away for free. I think the buy low window is closed. There was no buy low window for me if I was a Castillo manager, right? So I think that's probably. But again, you can basically be like, look, he gave 3 runs to the Giants. This isn't over 5 innings. This isn't exactly a dominant start right here. So maybe you see if it open. But if people are paying attention, they're going to be encouraged by the start.
Before we get to the 3 downs, I see the Peanuts and the Cracker Jacks are buzzing here with some more merch ideas. I opened up Pandora's box yesterday for the merch.
Yeah.
Cracker Jacks, Peanuts and Cracker Jack t-shirts, Red Bee ones, or maybe a Juan Soto fan club t-shirt. That also works for me. I think we should really brand ourselves. That's what I think.
So we are at 3.71K subscribers on YouTube. Again, if you missed yesterday, when we get to 4,000, I'm going to start introducing some leading off merch. And frankly, I think when we do that, it might be best just to get suggestions from the Peanut Gallery on that episode of merch. Maybe we'll hold a vote. I know you hate Twitter polls, but maybe we'll do a Twitter poll as to
I don't hate Twitter polls.
Okay.
No. I like Twitter polls, especially when they're about bad Twitter isms. That's what
that's fine. We'll put up a couple of potentials and then we'll end it with that's it. That's the tweet. How about that? Does that work for you?
On the back, they all say that's it. That's the shirt. Every single one of them. That's what it says. All right, 3 down. This is a huge down. This is a brown down. It's Trout out for 6 to 8 weeks with the calf issue. Yeah. We knew it was coming. You said it yesterday. It's going to be a good long absence, potentially 2-month absence. This is a killer. And, when we were having the conversation at the beginning of the season, before the season kicked off during draft prep, conversation was, why not Trout 1? And I think my answer continuously was, if you go back and look at the last few years of Mike Trout, there's missed time on the IL. A fair amount, enough that you go, maybe I put the younger guys ahead of him. And it's not a knock on Trout, it's just living in reality. And here we are, we're in that reality again. The Brewers get shut out, get used to that. Bobby did it to them. Chris Bubich, Bobby, whatever we want to call him here. I call him Bobby. Bobula, shut out the Brewers. And of course, this Mercedes controversy right now. Oh my God, between Roy Smalley getting mad, who I remember as a kid who was nothing but a utility infielder at the best. He getting all pissy and moany about the unwritten rules, and Tony La Russa. Like, who cares? It's a blowout. It's 3-0. I mean, the guy's probably going to walk, which is only going to make the inning longer. If the guy hits a home run, at least he circles the bases and we move on to the next guy. I just don't get it. And I said this before. I'm going to say it again. The unwritten rules of Major League Baseball are going to write its obituary if they keep this up. Just let them play, have it out, do what you're going to do, and if you don't like it, don't give up home runs 3-0. Don't let a guy steal a base when you're down 8 runs. Play the game the way it's supposed to be played hard all the time, and enough with this, well, you're not supposed to, whatever. No, not supposed to. Enough of that. I am over it. Your thoughts on all these downs today?
The Mercedes thing is the dumbest thing I've ever seen, and I think Tony La Russa was a terrible hire when they made it, and is probably a terrible hire to continue. And the team doesn't even support it. If you saw, like, Tim Anderson wrote on Instagram, and so after that wrote in support of Mercedes, be like, keep swinging and stuff like that. So I don't know if La Russa is going to lose the clubhouse or whatever. Also, then La Russa came out and said he had no problem with the Twins throwing at Mercedes after that. It's just like from a bygone era. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
At Mercedes. Why are you throwing it
at my own play? Right. They threw at him. They threw behind him. And La Russa says he has no problem with that. Whatever. It's dumb. It's ridiculous. But I agree with you. I think it's just nonsense. For the Brewers, yeah, what do you want? I don't know. Like, they're terrible.
What about Trout, though? Trout now, what do you do?
Let's talk about Trout, yeah.
What do you do?
So Trout, I had Trout, at last of the top tier, with the Acuna. It was the big tier, right? Acuna, Betts, Soto, and Trout. I had Trout last. I think most people did. It wasn't as much about the missed time, because that happens, but the 2 previous full seasons, he had played 140, 134 games. That's missing time, but it's not significant. The problem that I had with Trout is that there was a good chance he wasn't going to steal bases anymore. We had seen the numbers fluctuate in various years. He had stolen only 11 2 years ago, only 1 last year. He had only attempted 2. Now, he had converted both of them, but he'd only attempted 2 steals right now. We're roughly, I don't know, a quarter of the way through the season. Mm-hmm. Now he's got this calf issue. I mean, when he comes back, and this is a big one. This is, I mean, you mentioned it, 6 to 8 weeks, but this is one where when you hurt your calf like that, and again, he said he thought he popped his Achilles, so it was pretty bad when it happened. I'm sure it's going to be a long time. I can't imagine that he's going to run when he comes back. So look, as long as you when he comes back, assuming that he's able to avoid injury for the rest of the year, you're going to value him again like a top 6 or 7 hitter, because that's what he had been doing, 333, 466, 624 slash line. But again, the stolen bases, I think, are gone certainly for the rest of the year, and you need to factor that in for whenever you evaluate him coming back.
All right, let's get to some more players who had signs of life yesterday. We talked about Castillo with the 11 Ks, but Miguel Sano had 3 home runs. Trade him. Trade him now. This is it. Stop. I don't care what he says after the game. I don't care. And how many benches was this on, Dan, right? I mean, could you imagine how many benches, how many people actually started Sano in a league? I'm telling you, it is probably in the single digits. You started him, you're the guy.
Ready?
Ahead, tell me the story. Yeah, I'm ready. I want to hear
quickly,
the desperation start of Miguel Sano. Go.
Very quickly, personal. My TGFBI team, the Great Fantasy Baseball Invitational, is the worst team that has ever been constructed by any fantasy manager in any league of any size in any format. And it's dealing with a ton of injuries. So I can barely field the lineup. One of my players is Miguel Sano, so I had him for that. But I am also in a Draft Champions League. And the good thing about that is, in NFBC, you can set your lineup from Monday through Thursday. Twins had pretty good matchups coming into this week. I knew he was going to play just because of where they are. And I said, you know what? I think for this 4-day stretch, he's actually my best option at corner infielder. So I did start him. I got the best of it. Fun fact, Joe. Miguel Sano has a 35.4% strikeout rate this year. That is the best of his career, just to be clear. Okay, Miguel Sano is striking out less this year than he ever has. Breakout. I'm just kidding. That's true. But, look, Sano is going to get on a heater at some point and hit a bunch of home runs. It's true. They probably will be on your bench unless you have the worst team of all time and are forced to play.
Sell him now. That is it. By the way, next year, you and I should definitely go in on like a main event team together, I think.
Sure.
There's very few people that I would say that to. And I think you and I see the field the same way. I think you and I would have the same approach. Would be good. We did well, and it was fun to have.
As long as we go the Ohtani Spite store, I'm fine with it.
Is there another way? Imagine how much it's going to cost next year to get all the shares of him, right? You got him. I think we got a 16 combined dollars. I think we got him for.
Oh, God, yeah.
Ramon Laureano, 2 dingers yesterday after being in a slump. Look, Ramon Laureano's done this all season. He's just up and down. He's a streaky player. Just ride the wave when it's good and suck it up when it's bad. In season-long roto, it's not a big deal. It's going to hurt you a little bit in head-to-head. So what? Cronenworth, 20 for 46 over his last 12 games. He's just a punch and Judy kind of guy. Like he's a good baseball player. He's not a great fantasy player. That's all I'm going to say about that. All right, let's get to some of the other pitching performances from yesterday. Lance Lynn, 6 innings, 2 runs, 2 Ks versus the Twins. His ERA is now under 2. Brandon Woodruff, 1 earned run, doesn't get the W. In fact, gets a loss because of Bubala and the lack of run support. But we'll see when Yelich comes back what kind of change that might make. Wheeler, 7 innings, 1 earned, 10 Ks for him. We mentioned Ryu at the top of the show, 7 Ks. He is now at a 2.5 ERA. Great start against the Red Sox and a big start, I think, for the Blue Jays. Urias, we called him the good chalk. He was. 8 Ks versus the D-backs. Of course, you needed what's-his-nuts, Spencer Turnbull, in order to make it all work last night. But, how many people had that? I don't even know what the percentage was. Probably not many. Blake Snell, 6 innings pitched, 1 run, 11 Ks versus the Rockies, a team that strikes out a lot. Another turnaround, maybe getting lost in the shuffle. Is this the Blake Snell going on the right path now?
I mean, it's his first 6-inning start in like 2 years. So I'm not against the Rockies. It is. It's since July 2019. That's his first start of 6 innings. So I'm not going crazy. But look, I've gotten a lot of questions on Snell. And there was somebody on Twitter. And again, I think Joe and I, by the way, we try to be really responsive on Twitter if you ever have a question. Also, we'll have plenty of other ways to reach us. But regardless, somebody was asking about Snell. And it was like he was dropped in a 10-team points league. And he was like, I don't even know if I should pick up. And I'm like, you have to, because there's enough upside that at that point. And he was like, well, I don't really want to start him right now. I don't want to waste starts. I was like, doesn't matter. You have to find a way, because there is enough upside. Again, it was against the Rockies, so on the road. So we'll pump the brakes a little bit, but very encouraging to see. Again, Snell is a guy who I've moved down significantly from where I had him in my draft rankings to the rest of season rankings. Of the guys you mentioned, he's the guy I like least of everyone, but I do think that there's still plenty of potential for a guy like Snell to be an impact pitcher this year. So to the extent you were jumping off, you were selling low, I still wouldn't, but I wouldn't expect exactly to be like the top 15 pitcher that it was potential that he had coming in.
Eduardo Rodriguez struggled for the second time in a row against the Blue Jays. I want to point that out. It's just against the Blue Jays. Against everybody else, has been very good. Buy. This is a great opportunity to buy. He's had 2 bad starts in a row, but they're against the same team. Some people not even realize that. Patrick Corbin allowed 10 base runners, not his best outing, although he had pitched better recently. Christian Javier bounced back, 9 Ks against the Angels. That Angels lineup, too, is going to be fascinating. And you know what? The Ohtani MVP share now is so valuable with Trout out, because now that Trout is out, if the Angels can stay relevant on the back of Shohei Ohtani, That is amazing. Now all of a sudden you've taken the biggest obstacle, which is the guy on his own team, away. And now this is the narrative of Ohtani hitting, pitching, carrying the team. Mike Trout can't play. Who will save us? It's Shohei Ohtani and the good beans and the Spite Store. That's what we've got here. And I'll tell you what, man, that MVP share, you want to, I don't know where it is today. I might have to look at it, but I guarantee you it's getting closer and closer to 2-1.
Yeah, first of all, this is my bad. If you're people listening, I actually wrote that in. Javier Plesac was against the Angels. Javier was against the A's, but Plesac, which is my bad. Javier was against the A's. It was the Astros A's. But Plesac did allow.
But that's my bad. I should.
No, that is my bad. I wrote.
It's my bad. No, it's my bad.
My bad. Anyway, but it is a good time to talk about the Angels because I'm wondering because Plesac was against the Angels, and I know Mike Mayer is listening right now because he loves Zach Plesac. And Plesac allowed 5 runs against the Angels, and it feels like a lineup that you can easily sort of pick on without Trout, but. It's kind of like the lineups before this year because Ohtani is basically Trout at this point, like in that lineup. I wonder what they're going to do.
Here's the number. You want to know what the consensus number on betting pros is right now? Plus 150.
Oh my God. That's not, well, maybe especially because Trout's out,
That's what I'm telling you. I'm telling you that the announcement came yesterday. And I'm so glad I got in at 650. I know I saw one of our listeners tweet yesterday. He got in at 45-1.
Yeah, God.
Good on you, man.
Yep.
At 20, I really wanted to do it, and I went, you know what? I'm just not sure yet if he can even get on the mound. And let's see what happens. And then I'm just glad. Sometimes you got to jump on it when you have a chance. Like you see it trending before it gets out of control. And it's a good, even if it fails, if Ohtani gets hurt, it was the right thing to do. It was the right wager. It's the right way to go. But could you imagine from 45-1 to plus 150?
Yeah, he pitches tonight too, so let's see how that goes. But yeah, look, the Angels are not going to be in the playoffs. I'm going to call that out right now. I was horrified at their over/under number and their division odds coming into the year because I just didn't think it was going to happen. They've had bad luck, of course, now especially without Trout. So if you're going to be on a team that's not really going to compete, you're going to have to be a dominant force. But Ohtani is that dominant force right now, and it's a great narrative. So, and again, it's a narrative award. So, yeah, I didn't get in on it. My bad, but he is fantastic.
All right. Andres Jimenez was optioned down at AAA. I think this is good. Get him down there, get his head straight, have him come up. Very disappointing, but this is the problem, too, and this is going to happen in NFL Season 2. Players that we like the value, we talk about so much that eventually they stop becoming a value and a bonus play, and they start becoming important. I mean, I think by the time we got to that draft we did together, he was a $21 player, and that was insane. It was crazy. It was way too much.
Justin Mason.
I wouldn't want to say it, but yeah, Justin Mason. But it was but it was like he's like a $6 or $7 player and a possibly really good risk there. When you start 3xing a value of a player who hasn't quite done it yet, it's a dangerous road. Good news also, Fernando Tatis and Gleyber Torres could return as early as today. That is a positive. Also, Christian Yelich, Dolis, Odor, all of them returning from the IL, so that's a positive there. Things moving in better directions, and thankfully, Kevin Pillar, what a tough guy this guy is. He might be my new hero. Why he's out there in the dugout, oh my God, he's giving press conferences with the things in his nose.
I know.
That is a tough dude
Does
right
there.
there.
Does that change your narrative there? I'm glad.
My narrative on him was always tough guy.
Got it.
And my favorite quote, did you hear the quote? No. I'm not worried. I'm more worried about the other guy who threw the pitch. I don't want him to think it's like it's going to ruin his career. Yeah,
that was actually a really nice part of the whole thing.
What a dude.
Well, kudos to everybody, actually. The Mets broadcast, the ESPN broadcast of that game, they did focus a lot on Webb because it was bases loaded. Obviously unintentional. There's no way that he was trying to do it. And that could really mess up a pitcher. And everybody had the appropriate level of concern for both Pillar, but Webb too, it seems like a very decent dude. He felt horrible about it. So kudos to everyone about it. And kudos to Pillar. Yeah. I mean, Pillar looks like, Frankenstein right now. I don't know how he's out there, like you mentioned, and not playing, obviously, just even sitting there with the team. But yeah, that is a tough dude right there. So, kudos to him. And I can't name 3 Mets players at this point, but it's fine. They're still winning. It's all
Jonathan
good.
VR, Francisco Lindor, and
Alonso. You're fine.
And Pete Alonso.
There you go.
No, I'll tell you what, I got so frustrated watching Khalil Lee's at-bat yesterday, swinging for the fences on the first pitch, a guy who's not a home run hitter. Then the next pitch, of course, he's behind the count. They throw him a breaking ball that he can't hit. And then he goes down looking on the third pitch. Then the pitcher, who's never gotten a hit in his entire life, goes out there, just puts the bat on the ball and puts the ball into left field. Hilarious on the first pitch. I am laughing my rear end off. By the way, I just accidentally discovered something cool we could do because we know we're the people show. So I didn't realize we could do this. I can ask questions here in the Peanuts and the Cracker Jacks, and I can show them. Look at this. Zeb Perry wants to know, Joe, Marsh or Adele coming up? This is a great question. Look at this. See, we're making you famous. So Marsh or Adele coming up? That is a good question. You know, Marsh is the one that's more intriguing to me at this point. Adele has kind of struggled to find his way. There's every reason to think that there's an opportunity for him here. Both of these guys potentially. Marsh is the one I'm actually think has a higher upside. What are your thoughts there of how they kind of fill the gap? Because the Angels are kind of a top-heavy roster to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, they've said right now neither one is coming up. I do think if someone comes up, it's probably Marsh. I mean, Adele is striking out like 40% of the time or something ridiculous, and there's no reason to bring him up to the majors to watch him struggle like that. Let him continue to get seasoning in AAA. I actually don't think either one is coming up. I'm not stashing either one right now, but if there was one, it would be Marsh. By the way, there is a benefit. I mean, Keston Hiura right now apparently is looking much better right now in AAA, and you mentioned Jimenez. There's a benefit to keeping these guys down, as frustrating as it is as fantasy managers who we want to see the prospects, who want to see these guys up. There's a benefit to having them get right at AAA. So I don't think either one of these guys is coming up right now. I think they'll muddle through.
Yeah, I look, it's tricky, but this is that moment here for Shohei Ohtani. Speaking of Ohtani, how about this question here? I tried to trade Ohtani for pitcher Snell. Who would you rather have, pitcher Ohtani or pitcher Snell?
If it's pitcher Ohtani, like I can't start him at bat, then I'll take Snell because I don't know.
I was gonna say they're both 5-inning pitchers, so you can't use that crutch.
That is fair. That is fair. But I mean, if it's batter Ohtani, we're not in the we're easy Ohtani right here for sure. But if it's just pitcher, you can't start him. I'll go with Snell. I'll go with Snell. I love it. I love that you can put that up.
Look who's back today. He wasn't here yesterday.
Showing up here, Brendan.
Nice of you to be here, Tuma. Way to go. Snell's first 6-inning performance since 7/21/19.
That's what I said, July of 2019. Brendan, I was on it. God,
whatever. God, I said it. God. I like this little feature, and I just accidentally clicked onto it. I was like, oh, wait. Oh, well, look at that. And this is now why you have to watch the show on YouTube at FantasyPros MLB, because your name might appear on it at any given time. All right.
Cool.
Before we get to the DFS, we have to get to your body hair that's completely out of control. Just like the lawnmowers outside of my house this morning, the Lawnmower 4.0 is going to make sure that all of your grass is trimmed properly. That way you can have some play outside. That's right. You want to get that Lawnmower 4.0 from manscaped.com. 20% and free shipping can be yours with the code leading off. It's got that new guard length 1 through 4. It's got the 4000K LED light. It's also got, get ready for it, here comes the hot foil stamped black chrome Manscaped logo. Oh my goodness, that mower is great. You show it off loud and proud. You show it to your friends. Maybe you want to put it up on the mantle above the fireplace, but you can only do that if you go to manscaped.com, get 20% off and free shipping thanks to our friends at Manscaped, and that code is leading off. Your balls will thank you. Let's see if you thank us after today's MLB DFS notes, and let's start with the good chalk. The good chalk of the night is the Cardinals against the Pirates. It's Jack Flaherty. It's their best pitcher against the Pirates. If this fails, then I don't want to live anymore. It's just like, I mean, come on. Like, this is it. Let's go. Let's make this simple. John Means is on the slate tonight. He's at 10K on FanDuel, 9.4. Rogers at 9.7 and 9.1. Scherzer, 11.7 on FanDuel, 10K, still getting a discount. How, I don't understand. But getting a discount on DK, still with Max Scherzer. Why do they hate Max Scherzer? What did Max Scherzer do to them? Corbin Burns is 10.5 and 10.3 on both sites. And then Kershaw, relatively the same too, 10.2 and 10.5. So if you're looking for cash game arms tonight, outside of Flaherty, it feels like Scherzer on DK is a good value. But where else would you go? Would you go with Burns, even though that offense is dreadful?
Yeah, I look for reasons to not go with some of these guys to differentiate it, and I can't really find it. I guess you're right with Burns. If you want something, it's the fact that they don't score runs whatsoever. I mean, Yelich should be in the lineup tonight, so maybe that will help. That does make you a little worried. Certainly like Kershaw against the Diamondbacks. I don't even know who's pitching for the Diamondbacks tonight, so I'm sure that the Dodgers will have.
Yet.
I don't know if they know. No, again, I agree. I do like Flaherty, as we mentioned again against Cahill. The wind is blowing out. I expect them to score plenty of runs, but yeah, Scherzer on DK for sure. Other than that, just throw your dart at one of Burns or Flaherty or Kershaw, because I think you can get away with any of them. But it's going to be really interesting, the ownership percentage of them, right? Because you can go with any of them and feel absolutely confident in them.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about roster percentage with those guys. It's the haves and have-nots in terms of pitchers. Not a lot of great alternatives on that mid to low range, and we'll get to them in a second here because Gilbert is actually 4.7, which is funny as a secondary arm because people might just do that and just load up. And
everybody's going to do that because it's not even a bad. Gilbert is a good not even pitcher.
Yeah, I mean, if he gets through 5 innings, maybe that's the thing. Like, could he get? No, but it's true. Like, I'm not even being a jerk about it. I'm being realistic. Like, if he gets you 5 innings and 2 or 3 runs, is that a 4.7 return? It depends on the case. If he strikes out 7 guys, 7, 8 guys, you get that?
Yeah, it's Detroit, though, man. I'm telling you, like, it's really hard to avoid him. 4.7, oh, man.
It's in play. It's not on play on FanDuel. It's on play as a secondary arm on DK only.
Correct.
So don't go crazy. I think he's 6 over on FanDuel of memory.
Yeah, so. He's 4.7 on DK. I mean,
come on. All right, let's pick a side. Come on, let's pick a side or run away. Right. Peterson in the Mets against Charlie Morton tonight in the Braves. Morton, look at FanDuel's. They've had it. They've said, like, Beyonce, you can put your stuff and to the left and everything in a box to the left, Charlie Morton. 6.8 for Charlie Morton. My goodness, the times are tough. He's 8.5 still on DK. You want any piece of this game or you're running away?
No, I'll take it. I think that the Braves are going to hit David Peterson. I know he pitched very well in his last game, but the Braves cannot get swept by the Double-A Mets that are going out there right now. They just can't. I think their bats come alive tonight, so I think there's a lot of win equity there. And I think Morton, I continue to think that Morton's pitched better than his numbers, and this lineup is not. I mean, I think Jonathan VR is going to be the cleanup hitter tonight. So, like, I mean,
hey, man, he's swinging the bat pretty well. And you know what? That was a player beginning of the year where, like, hey, man, he's a free square. Take him. You know he's going to play at some point. There's going to be injuries. And he plays everywhere.
Kudos to the Mets for having enough depth to survive this onslaught of injuries. But I do think that I will take Morton tonight in this matchup.
All right, let's talk about Savali and Ohtani. 7.377 for Savali, Ohtani on FanDuel, 9.574 on DK. Big difference there in terms of price. Want any pieces of this? I'm going to run away from this one. I'm just going to watch it because it looks like fun.
I agree with you. I'm staying away. I mean, I don't know exactly. I mean, Plesac was disappointing yesterday against the Angels, so I don't really know whether or not they're going to rally around the flag with Trout being out here. And Ohtani always makes me, I never feel confident what I'm going to get, so I'm staying away from that game.
All right, last of the games here. Greinke and Montas going head-to-head against each other tonight. 7-7 for Greinke, 8-9 for Greinke on DK. Montas 7-2 on FanDuel, 8K on DK. I'm going to stay away from this one too. Again, 4 outcomes all over this game, so I'm out on this one. How about you?
Completely agree. I don't want a guy like Greinke going up against kind of a disciplined team like the A's, and Montas, who I like. I have some fears about here going up against Houston, so I'm just gonna.
I mean, look, the Astros the last 2 weeks have been one of the best offenses in baseball.
Yeah.
So you go back and look at how many runs scored. They're first in OPS. They're first, like them and the Blue Jays have just been. You go back and go to MLB.com, go look at team stats for the last couple of weeks. It's the Blue Jays, it's the Astros just crushing the baseball over the last month. All right, here's some values, and we'll get to some more questions. FanDuel, Gavin Lux is 2.8 on DK 3.3. We talked about him yesterday. He was a good return yesterday. Let's double down and do it again. On FanDuel, the other guys are Biggio at 2.7 if he's in the lineup, Riley at 2.7, and only Austin Riley at 2.7.
Nice.
Kelenic is also 2.7, Candelario's 2.7, and IKF. Now I'm going to be like the cool kids and call him IKF. That's Isaiah kind of falafel, I guess, is 2.8. Then we've got Andahar on DK at 2.7, Carlson at 2.9, and Jonathan Villar at 3.4. Swinging a good bat. Looks good.
Yeah.
All right, I want to get to a question before the home run calls because I saw a good trade one out here, and I'm trying to find it. Where is it? There it is. Okay, here is it. It's Joshua Wood. Oh, look at this handsome young man. Look at him. Look at nice picture here, all this stuff. Would you trade DJ LeMahieu or Nelson Cruz for Cody Bellinger? Dinger Dan, that's an interesting one.
That is interesting. I probably would. I think I have Bellinger slightly ahead of Cruz on the trade chart, given the latest information from him. There's still some uncertainty there. And LeMahieu's very tough, right? Because on the pure numbers, yes, but it really depends on where you are with the position flexibility. If you have all that sort of covered, then I probably would make that trade. But I don't know. I mean, Cruz for Bellinger, it's really more about position because unless there's not going to be that much of an upgrade in the production, right? So it's
Mm-hmm.
about fair value there. And with LeMahieu, really, if you're covered at second and the position flexibility,
That's where I find it hard to believe you're covered at second. LeMahieu's position eligibility gives me pause there. I would probably do it anyway, but Cruz is the guy I'd rather move if I could. So good question there. Very nice. Let's get to the home run calls. All right. I'm doubling down. It was Soto last night. Didn't work. So I'm going at it again because I'm trying to break that streak of when I'm right on top of a player. It's right there, ready to go. And then he homers the next night after I picked him. Well, guess what? I'm on to you. I'm watching you. So I'm going to go with this streak here. Soto, second day in a row. Let's see if we can get it done tonight. Who you got? Who you calling your shot with?
I'm going to go with, there were a lot of choices, by the way. It was tough to narrow this one down today. There are a lot of good options. I'm going to go with Devers. I know the wind is blowing in there in Toronto, wherever they played.
Dunedin. Oh, I think we've had Dan cut out for a second there. So hopefully we can either get him back. But it seems like Rafael Devers is his home run call. And hopefully he actually plays tonight. Because when Rafael Devers doesn't play, there he is. He's back again. That would be 3 nights in a row if Devers somehow isn't in the lineup that you keep losing your home run calls. It's like your players don't want to play for you. Next thing you know, they're going to the media saying bad things about Dan Harris. I don't know what's going on.
My bad. Yeah. Sorry about that. Sorry about the technical difficulties as well. But yes, I do have a little thing going on where every single player I call to hit a home run is out of lineup or on the injured list. My bad. Anyway, with Devers, the wind is blowing in from left. So, as a lefty, hopefully he hits one out to right in that park against Ross Stripling. That's where I'm going. I wouldn't mind, by the way, backup call. I'll call it out now, by the way. How about this? And so I don't have to tweet it out. If Devers is miraculously out of the lineup, as I expect to happen, I'm going to go with Paul Goldschmidt against Trevor Cahill. Cardinals against the Pirates, wind blowing out to left. Goldschmidt is my backup call. So it's officially on the record right now in case that happens. Okay?
You were way ahead of time yesterday on the backup call.
Didn't work anyway, so whatever.
This is baseball. It's becoming like the NBA. You're just not sure. You got to watch all the way up to the time you're ready to go. All right. Before we head out, I want to remind everybody to make sure you go to fantasypros.com/MLB contest. We're giving away that Vladdy Guerrero autographed baseball. So go ahead and get that. All you got to do, leave a screenshot review over at Apple Podcasts or CastBox. You take a screenshot. We've talked about those reviews. You guys are doing a phenomenal job. Keep it up. It's brilliant. We thank you. It means a lot to all of us here at the Fantasy Pros. And then you go to fantasypros.com/MLB contest. You upload that. You fill out the form. And then you're in for the Vladdy Ball and every other giveaway we do after that. So please get in there on that. Also go to manscaped.com, get your 20% off and your free shipping thanks to us here, and use that code leading off. And thank you for joining us live and all your great questions and all the fun we're having. It's nice to see Tuma back in the chat where he belongs. Everybody loves Tuma.
Everybody does love Tuma. Tuma's an OG on leading off, man.
Never too much Tuma. Never too much Tuma. All right, the story of the game goes on. That'll do it for me and Dinger Dan. We'll see you next time, kids.